Warned us, Ray Dalio, Robert Kiyosaki, and Warren Buffett. They've all warned us. Robert Kiyosaki has warned us over and over again. He's stacking Bitcoin and gold. Ray Dalio has warned us of the changing world order and the big debt crisis. And Warren Buffett has warned us by the moves he's making. Now, take a deep breath with me. What I need you to understand is this is a cycle that happens in humanity over and over and over again. There is no get rich quick. There's understanding the economic cycles. This happens in humanity over and over and over again. The markets are just your emotion. Yes, it can get very scary if you're on the wrong side of this. Remember, there's no real money in the system. There's only picture like an interest. You're on the debt side or you're on the asset side. That's it. Why do you think Warren Buffett has pulled into so much cash right now? He feels that there's an overvalued stock market. Okay. Trump is telling you that the whole markets are going to boom, and it probably will. But remember Ronald Reagan, right? You got to go deep into studying this stuff, guys. Ronald Reagan came in when Trump was building casinos. Ronald Reagan was a businessman, right? The economy boomed. But remember the roaring 20s, the 80s, all these cycles that have happened? When there's printing of money and there's low interest rates, everybody gets greedy. And Warren Buffett's like, wait a minute. Something might be happening here. Let's get some cash. Let's get ready to buy the dip. So we have to prepare. Now, it's not saying the dollar's going to collapse like this. It's not saying the market's going to collapse like this, but there is a massive economic cycle. One of the biggest ones. It's like a 1920 to 1929 economic cycle that we're about to experience in a 1929 to 1942. That's where we're at right now. We're 1929 to 1942. And we wake up in 2030, it's going to be a whole new economic system. So on my channel, I keep you calm. I keep you stoic. We're not the hype channel. And I share with you exactly what I'm doing. I created what's called Capital DR, and it helps me beat inflation and weather these economic cycles. So I'm going to show you what is actually happening right now. And then on the back end, I'm going to share with you exactly what I am doing. Again, not financial advice. I want to show you what I believe is happening and how I make my decisions based on that. Okay. This is financial education. So the first thing that I want to show you guys is that the US bank reserves fall to the lowest level since 2022. Is Bitcoin the answer? I don't know. Trump is the number one holder in Bitcoin through billionaires. Okay. In tomorrow's video, you got to watch tomorrow's video. I'm going to show you the 60-minute interview with Trump. I'm going to re-show you again the 60-minute interview with Larry Fink, and re-show you again the 60-minute interview with Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff. You got to understand what's happening, guys. They are moving into a brand new economic system. Okay. So banks' reserves fell to an all-time low, and then boom, the Federal Reserve pumped $29.4 billion into the US banking system through overnight repos. This amount far surpasses even the peak of the dot-com bubble. Probably fine. Carry on. Right? What a great tweet. Look at that. You see this right here, guys? Look at that. Boom. Okay. Go back. Bank reserves fall to an all-time low. Boom, here comes the feds pumping money, guys. Here comes the printing machine. Here comes low interest rates. But in low interest rates and printing of money, what happens? Inflation because of this. This is your national debt, guys. The US government is closed. It's still closed. Meanwhile, the US casually added another $100 billion in federal debt in 4 days. How can this possibly end well? It's not. There's going to be a transition. That's why, where I'm going to take you, the back end of this video, that's why they created the Genius Act. That's why they're creating the Clarity Act. That's why Trump ran as the crypto capital of the world. That's why they created the Stablecoin Act. They're going to balance out the treasury market through stablecoins. That's why Trump wants us as a crypto capital of the world, because it is the new economic system that is going to rebalance the system and create an even playing field. Okay, check this out. Las Vegas has seen 2 million less visitors so far in 2025 compared to 2024. We're hitting Caesars Entertainment reportedly 90,000 empty rooms. Consumers are out of money, guys. The consumer credit index is an all-time high. Okay. Savings account are at an all-time low. We're hitting that inflection point. We're hitting the tipping point. So you know what happens every time they do that? They let this printing machine fly. Remember, the dollar's collapsed 96 to 97% of its purchasing power. Does that make you wealthier or does that make you poor? If you're a dollar-based person and you're on the wrong side of the interest quadrant, you're buried in debt, it's going to make you poor. So you're racing inflation where you're going to get poorer every single year if you don't get a raise that beats inflation, and you keep monetizing more debt, and now your debt is maxed out, and now you're in a what's called a debt trap. Okay. And that explains how I do my financial investments. Okay. Now, Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway is now sitting on an all-time high of $382 billion in cash, enough to buy 477 companies on the S&P. What does Warren Buffett know? Remember, he made a big investment in, I think it's Lennar Homes, new home builds. Okay. So he has made, now remember, he's stepping away from Berkshire. So maybe they're repositioning into cash because the new person coming in is going to reallocate that. Maybe, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but he is quietly signaling something is happening. Now, if you look at the Warren Buffett indicator, the stock market is extremely overheated, guys. The stock market is still performing, and when we're in a really bad economic crisis, okay? I highly recommend you go watch this whole interview on Ray Dalio's channel. It came out a day ago. It says Ray Dalio and Andrew Ross. Andrew Ross just wrote the new book, 1929, and I've been sharing with you guys, this is very similar to the Roaring 20s, right? Roaring 20s, people were leveraging, borrowing. You would give $1, they would give you 10, right? And then what happened? 1929, the banks had no money, collapsed. Went into the Great Depression, 1942. We came out of 1942, World War II, right? Bank of International Settlements, IMF, new monetary system. We're going to head up 2030, new monetary system. Bitcoin will be the new gold. You'll have stablecoin. You're going to have digital currencies. There's going to be an even playing field monetarily. You can actually be in the system with DeFi. So let's just listen to this one part. And I really encourage you to go watch this whole interview.
Jill ran a bank called National City, which becomes Citigroup. And Charlie, they used to call him Sunshine Charlie. Charlie was as famous probably as Jamie Dimon would be today. I mean, he was on the cover of magazines. It was really also 1920s was the first time actually that business leaders.
So what they're talking about is the Roaring 20s, right? So what I think we're going to experience is with Trump bringing the public and private sector together, tariffs bringing a bunch of income, we're going to see this huge pump in our economy. But remember, guys, when people get hyped up, they get excited, everybody gets over leveraged. You got to make sure you're really responsible. Richest man in Babylon, wisdom of King Solomon. Pay attention, guys. We could really set our families up well.
That the CEOs in finance were actually on the covers of the magazines in the same way that, Babe Ruth or Charles Lindbergh would have been. He might be akin maybe to maybe like a Michael Milken too, in that Michael Milken created, junk bonds and really sort of revolutionized credit for certain kinds of industries. He revolutionized credit in the context of the individual being able to buy shares of stock on margin for the first time. I mean,
boom. This is where it all started, guys, what he's talking about. Remember the liquidation of 19 billion, the 2025 crash in cryptocurrency was everybody was over leveraged. Okay.
Really was the sort of man that changed the entire game. All of a sudden, brokerages are emerging inside cities on the corners of streets like Starbucks, and that's happening because he and National City and some of the other banks start to lend out extraordinary amounts of money. And you could go into a brokerage, put down $1, and they would literally lend you $10. So,
ding, just a second, ding, because what comes to my mind now is I just can't help myself. Okay, what are the things that are the ingredients that create the bubbles? One of them is a lot of credit, easy credit, and also the public going into all of this because they're super excited about it. Now I'll shut up.
Okay, that is the key ingredient to my strategy. Okay, I'm super bullish on crypto, absolutely bullish. 19 billion was liquidated. I want to help you guys with this. Okay. 10-10-2020. I told people that a black swan was coming. Okay. It happens every time. The elites understand what's going on, guys. Okay. When everybody gets over leveraged, boom, they collapse the system. What does Warren Buffett do? Comes in with all his cash. Boom. He buys the dip. Buy when there's blood in the streets. Warren Buffett. the cycle, somebody's winning, somebody's losing. That's why I'm not married to an asset class. That's why I don't just hold on to an asset class. That's why I profit. That's why I build safety. That's why I build security, because it is not different this time, guys. Please listen to me. It is not different. It is always the same. Go watch that whole interview, guys. Your task today, let me go back. Your job today is to go back and watch that whole interview. You have to financially educate yourself on what is happening. Okay. Now, here's what is happening. This is IMF news. Crypto, this is from the internet. Remember, IMF was created after World War II. Crypto, stablecoins, and tokenizations promise new possibilities, but also new risk. Forward-looking policies is essential. This is the rise of stablecoin, guys, since 2017. Crypto's a fraud. Crypto's a fraud. 2019. Here comes Larry Fink. Oh, Bitcoin's a flight to quality. USDT skyrockets. USDC skyrockets. This is the increase of stablecoin. Trump has USD1, the fastest growing stablecoin in history, WLFI. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Watch my video tomorrow. I'm gonna teach you guys the game. I'm gonna show you what he talks about and what 60 Minutes is talking about. Go watch the history of Donald Trump. Remember, Trump started creating his casinos in 1980s when Reagan was president, man. Money was flowing like water. Okay. Remember, you have to understand these economic cycles. I'll get off my soapbox, okay? Stablecoin payments are exploding from 335K in 2022 to 20 billion in 2025, okay? All right, so here's the markets right now. This is why you panic, because you see this. You see this crazy volatility. Like, what is going on? I thought my favorite influencers told me I was going to be rich by now. I was going to be a multi-million. That's not how it works, okay? You're in the middle of an absolute storm. Imagine a tornado. You're right in the middle of it, guys. The storm is a transition. It's like a cat. You're a caterpillar right now. Let me bring you guys on the screen right now, okay? You're a caterpillar. You're in the cocoon and you're watching the evolution into a whole new financial system, okay? It is going to be a violent, ugly process. Unfortunately, there's going to be winners and losers. The wealth gap is going to be massive by 2030. The wealth gap became, if you don't believe me, go look at the wealth gap from 2020 to 2024. As you lost 24% purchasing power, look at the inauguration. All those people sitting up there with them became extremely wealthy. His cabinet, Howard Lutnick, Cantor, Fitzgerald, a crypto company. Bo Hines steps down. He is now the CEO for Tether. Scott Bessent, our Treasury Secretary, okay, needs the Genius Act to balance out the stablecoin, or excuse me, the Treasury market with stablecoins. World Liberty Financial, USD1, okay, stablecoin. We now have Tether, the largest stablecoin. 90% of the supply is now in America. We are the #1 country in crypto. We are now going to dominate with the stablecoin. But remember, when there's cheap money and there's low interest, just like the 1920s, the roaring 20s, okay, just like 2000s, just like 2006 to 2008, what goes up comes back down. And what I believe and how I built my portfolio is through safety. I am consolidating into the top cryptos that I believe, okay, are going to be here through regulation. I'm not playing games anymore. This is not a joke. It's never been a joke, but I ain't playing games. There's no get rich quick. There's no hype. You know, I focus on Ray Dalio, Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. I'm studying billionaires. And I'm watching the big economic moves they're doing. They're playing a completely different game, guys. #1, don't lose money. Rule #2, follow rule #1. So what I did is I created capital DR. Cash flow is king, not cash. Collapsed 96 to 97%, and they're about to lower the value of your dollar dramatically. And they're going to lower interest rates dramatically. Okay. So your dollar is going to become worth less. Okay. And then eventually inflation is going to kick back in, and you're going to be deeper in the hole if you're on the wrong side of the quadrant. So what I personally do is I take cash flow from my businesses and my cash generating dividends. I take cash flow, I put it into cash generating dividends, 10%. I only risk 10%. That shoots off cash. So I have 2 cash flow streams coming in from businesses. That would be your job. I have dividends money in, producing more, richest man in Babylon. I move my cash flow and I use deflationary assets that have fixed supply. Someone can use gold, they can use silver, maybe you're into real estate. I use things like XRP and Bitcoin. They have fixed supply, 100 billion for XRP, 21 million for Bitcoin. That's what I think will work for me and my family. It's worked really well since 2020 to 2024, but I'm not foolish. Okay. I'm not just holding on to something, waiting for a savior. I'm moving money currently through the system. So I'm not price sensitive. I am ecosystem sensitive. I feed the ecosystem. So when my assets in the A in capital DR appreciate, we're going to take Bitcoin out of the category. We're going to put that in leverage. We're never touching Bitcoin. That's gold that grows 50% every year. I pull profits. I hold 50% ever in legacy and the ones that I believe are going to be here. I pull profits and I first stuff money into my protection, which is insurance. They teach you how to insure your house, your car. You teach you how to insure your life. They don't teach you how to insure your money. I insure my money. The reason why insurance gets a bad rap, they're not funded properly. They're not set up properly, and they're being sold as retirement policies. These are not retirement policies. They're insurance plans. They have cost of insurance. And if you don't put money in them properly, they're not structured properly. They don't work properly. The reason why I use protection, number one, nobody can touch my insurance. So imagine I pull profits, I stuff money into my insurance, nobody can touch it. Nobody. Guess what? When I need leverage, I go to my insurance policy. This goes to their stocks and they go to their, hence the $19 billion liquidation. I go to my insurance policy, which has no liquidation risk. I can borrow at 5%, a fixed rate. Okay. And I could take that money and I can do what? Go buy more cash flow. Beat the hurdle rate. You got to beat inflation, guys. I'm not saying you have to. This is exactly what I do. And then I have L, capital DR, cash flow, appreciation, protection, leverage. Then I have Bitcoin in the leverage category and insurance in the leverage category. My warning to you, you're going to hear me talk about DR, de-risk, de-risk, de-risk. Do not leverage digital assets. People are telling you to go out there and, oh, just borrow from your digital assets, borrow from your digital assets. Tax free. Oh, that's great. Oh my gosh, what is going on here? I don't know if you guys can hear that. Or no, our academies, that's all. As people join our academy, that's crazy. I'm very grateful, but it's like people joining nonstop. Shameless plug there. Oh, so in the DR, right, is your digital assets. I only leverage on my Bitcoin 25% of my overall portfolio. And then when you put it on a DeFi platform, they only give you 75% of the 25. It would take a massive collapse for me to get liquidated. But if I ever borrow from Bitcoin, I have other money to right size the loan or more Bitcoin to right size the loan. So I'll never get liquidated. Be very, very, very careful with leverage, guys. Okay. If you ain't got the money, honey, don't do it. Remember they used to say, friends don't let friends drive drunk. Friends don't let friends leverage irresponsibly. Okay. So it's C, cash flow, appreciating assets, protection, leverage, de-risk, de-risk, de-risk. And I'm in some high risk dividends as well. And they're throwing off a lot of cash flow. And damn well, I de-risk every single dime out of there. I'm working to beat the NAV erosion. I pull out the cash flow. I pull it out into Bitcoin and XRP. So that's what I do. It works really, really well for me. That's my exact strategy. Again, you have to, what I'm trying to teach on this channel is financial literacy, financial education, because guys, I would like to make you believe that these people are saying it's not different. It's the same cycle since there was this type of economics created, where one person that has more shekels or more coins is more powerful. It's always been this way. The 1% has always been the 1%. Your emotions are their profits. Okay. They have the big money so they can move the markets. When they want to move the markets now, they can just throw out a tweet or what's called an X. What do you call it now? An X tweet? Is it a tweet? I call them tweets. They can just do a tweet and it moves the whole market. Okay. And here's my warning. If you are price sensitive, that means you're over leveraging an asset class. If you're waiting for that asset, that means that you haven't built a proper cash flow strategy and you're over leveraged, and you have to create a budget. You have to create more income, guys. That's your number one thing. So I'll get off my soapbox. I love you guys so much. Couple things out there. Big warning. You can actually report scammers now. We have a team working, physical team during the day, and then AI working at night, 24 hours a day. We're spending a lot of money on this resource. We are trying to combat these scammers, but I can only share with you from personal. I will never DM you. That's not me on WhatsApp. That's not me on Telegram. We do not invest people's crypto. We do not have a crypto trading platform. We don't do any of that stuff, guys. We are an education platform. I have 6 companies in information, technology, education, and financial services. Okay. They're education platforms. We don't invest people's money. I want to make that very, very clear. So in the description of this YouTube video, you'll see our resources and my social media platform. Click the link, you'll see the resources. Please don't ever respond to anybody trying to get you to send them crypto or saying, hey, give us your money, we'll invest for you. That is a lie. That's not us. We're not on Telegram. We're not on WhatsApp. We run real companies, real education platforms, and I have a financial services company as well on the brokerage side for insurance. So if you need any support at all, I just want to keep putting that out there. But we also have a resource. If you have all these scam accounts hitting you up in my social media platform, you click the link and you can actually report them right there. And my team works to take them down. So we're working really hard. We're spending a lot of resources to mitigate it. Best thing we can do is continue to warn you. I love you guys. I really, really do. I appreciate you. If you can do me a huge favor, most of you guys are not subscribed. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a comment. It gets it out to more people. And so I expect you to subscribe, and I'll see you next show. Warriors, let's get your shit together. Let's go. Go. Hit the subscribe button.